If you're struggling to hit your marketing targets, then check out our ROI Calculator. This free tool lets you experiment with different scenarios and helps you discover the metrics you need to tweak to achieve your goals. Okay, so now I'm going to take you through our ROI Calculator template. So on the first sheet, you can see we've added some instructions just to show you how to make a copy. So you have your own copy that you can save on your own drive. And then if we go on to the next sheet, you will find the actual calculator. So at the top, we define the purpose. So for this sheet, we're focusing on lowering the cost per acquisition. So that's the cost that you are paying to acquire a customer. And the goal is that you can ultimately test different scenarios, okay, to reach the specific goal or the specific CPA target that you are trying to achieve. And we're going to do that by manipulating the orange fields only. So if we go just into a bit more detail, so the first column you'll see it says current. So that's specifically what your current performance looks like. So we've defined it as the last 30 days as an example. And you would just fill out the relevant information, right? So this table is made up of various formulas. So just manipulate the orange fields and the rest will be calculated for you. So in this case, we have our current. Then you'll see the different kind of metrics that we focus on. So this scenario is focused on if we are able to reduce the CPM, the cost per thousand impressions. The second column is focusing on if you actually increase your click-through rate. The next one is if you increase your conversion rate, increase your average order value, and then you have your ideal scenario. So what combination can really help you achieve the goal that you've set out. We've also included a metrics explained section. So just to refresh, a refresh on the metrics that we are using. So you can just go and have a look at this in case you maybe get a bit lost throughout. But we have defined everything here for you. So cost per thousand impressions is your CPM. So that's the amount that you pay per thousand impressions. Impressions is the number of times your ads were on screen. Click-through rate refers to the percentage of impressions that actually turn into clicks. So naturally, we want that as high as possible because this speaks to the relevance of your ads. Then clicks just refers to the amount of clicks that you get from your ad to the website. We've got your conversion rate, so the percentage of clicks that actually turns into customers. So again, something that you want as high as possible. Because then you are providing users essentially with what they're looking for, right? So then they are more inclined to actually convert and complete the desired action. Then we've got purchases, so just the amount of sales generated. Your CPA, so that's your cost per acquisition. Your AOV, which is the average order value. Revenue, which is the total value of all your purchases. We've got your ad spend, so what you're actually spending on advertising. And then lastly, your return on ad spend. So for every dollar you're spending, what are you essentially getting back for that dollar? So this calculator is geared towards social media marketing specifically. So that's why there is a focus on your CPM. So with your conversion-based campaigns, for those that are not aware, you get charged by CPM. So that's a very important metric. So let's quickly just do an example so you can see kind of how this works in action. So the first thing is the CPM. So let's say we are able to reduce our CPM, right? Let's say we go from a $20 to a $10. Then we can see what the impact of that would be, right? So because we are paying less for 1,000 impressions, we are able to get a higher number of impressions at the same click-through rate, but that means we're getting more clicks to the website and we're converting 0.5% of those 10,000 clicks, right? And that gives us the amount of purchases that we can expect, the cost per acquisition, and then the average order value is what you have to define. So what is your average order value? The revenue is calculated for you, and the ad spend you have to input and say, look, what is the amount that I'm actually spending on my advertising? And then you can get the final kind of estimation if you were able to actually reduce your CPM to $10. Okay, so you can see that it has an impact. We reduced the CPA by half, and we also doubled the ROAS. Okay. Now let's say the scenario stays the same as our baseline, but in this case we are optimizing our click-through rate. So let's say we are able to just double our click-through rate, for example. We can see that has a direct impact on the amount of clicks that we can get. And this is actually exactly the same as what our CPM scenario would be, okay? Let's just maybe do 1.5, so it's a bit different. There we go. So now if we were able to increase our click-through rate to a 1.5, we can see what the impact from your baseline kind of scenario and what it would look like in the case if you had to improve your click-through rate, right? The next scenario would be conversion rate. So if we were able to increase our conversion rate, then again, what impact would that have? So if everything stays the same and we just increase our conversion rate, then this is essentially the expected or potential results, right? Then in terms of your AOV, so let's say we are able to run some form of a bundle deal or have some special offering where we can actually increase users' basket size. And that impact, right, can also look quite good. So in comparison to our baseline, if we doubled our AOV, just as an example, we would see an increase in revenue, right, as well as our ROAS, but our CPA doesn't necessarily, it's not affected, right? So in your ideal scenario, now that you've looked at the impact of what these different metrics can have on the results, you can now kind of go and look at what that ideal scenario would be. Because ultimately, doubling your conversion rates or doubling your click-through rates or decreasing your CPM by 50% can often be very, very challenging. It's not something that you're just going to achieve overnight. So sometimes the best approach would be to kind of, tweak these metrics on a more, on kind of a smaller scale. So let's say, for example, we said, okay, cool, our ideal scenario would be to reduce our CPM to 15. We get our click-through rate up. I mean, a click-through rate is something that's a bit easier to improve, because ultimately you can do multiple creative tests, message tests, audience testing to really find out what resonates the best with your potential customers. And that'll naturally have a positive effect on your click-through rate. So, okay, and then let's say we increase our conversion rate to 0.8, and now we can kind of see the impact, right? And let's say we can increase our AOV to 150 as an example. Now we can see, okay, so by tweaking all of these metrics, we were able to reduce our CPA from 400 to 125, right? So naturally, this is not something you would expect overnight. But the goal of this calculator is to really just guide you on which levers you can really pull to ultimately achieve what you need to achieve, right? So if your goal was to achieve a 200 cost per acquisition target, then you can go and play around with the different metrics and scenarios to figure out kind of quick wins, right? So if it's as easy as just improving your click-through rate, then focus on that, right? Then we know, let's go and try different messaging and angles until we find that perfect combination that can help us reach this click-through rate goal. And that is kind of the same for all the other metrics. All right, so I hope this was helpful. If you are interested, you can download this for free and start using it for your campaigns and to really just get some insight into how you can reach your goals.